At the stroke of the midnight hour, when the world sleeps, India will awake to life and freedom.
With this famous speech delivered at midnight on 15th August 1947, India's first Prime Minister, Jawaharlal Nehru, announced the birth of an independent India. In these 75 years, India has grown by leaps and bounds. In this episode, we'll look back at some aspects of this 75-year journey. We will take you on a short trip down memory lane, recalling India's towering business leaders, reminding you of the brands that Indians fell in love with, and also the key moments that shaped Indian markets in these 75 years. First, we tip our hat to the towering business leaders who have shaped this journey. Some are midnight children whose pre-independence businesses bloomed after 1947, and some licensed Raj warriors who refused to let red tapeism slow them down. In many cases, the enterprises steered by them have successfully navigated India's shift from a Nehruvian to a neoliberal model. While there are many doyens of independent India, Vinu and Swapnil will list the top ones for you.
Let's start with J.R.D. Tata and Ratan Tata. The Tata's business interest was diverse, though J.R.D. Tata's love for flying surpassed all else. A rare interview showed J.R.D. Tata telling Rajiv Mehrotra, his host, that his biggest contribution as an industrialist was the creation of Air India. As India celebrates the 75th year of independence, Tatas have Air India back with them once again. J.R.D.'s successor, Ratan Tata, gave automobiles a new direction within the Salt to Software group, from Indica to Jaguar Land Rover. One of India Inc.'s biggest corporate battles also played out in the Tata Group in 2016, when Cyrus Mistry, then chairman of Tata Sons, was ousted in a boardroom coup overseen by Ratan Tata. Moving on, how can one talk about India Inc. without delving into the role of the Ambanis? When Dhirubhai Ambani returned from Yemen in the late 1950s to set up a textile mill in India, not many had expected him to rewrite the rules of the game. In 1977, Dhirubhai Ambani listed his company, Reliance Industries, which is now India's biggest company in revenues. From then on, Ambani went from strength to strength and he was unstoppable. But after he died without a will in 2002, his sons fought a bitter legal battle over the control of the flagship company. But in 2005, the siblings signed a peace agreement. Since then, while Mukesh Ambani-led Reliance Industries has flourished, the businesses held by Anil Ambani went to bankruptcy court. The next big chapter in Reliance Industries is currently being written, with Mukesh Ambani launching his succession plan, at the center of which is the generation next of the Ambanis, Akash, Isha and Anant. Now let's take a trip down memory lane. Remember the iconic Hamara Bajaj tagline? Hamara Bajaj! Well, today let's remember the industrialists behind it. From putting up a relentless fight against licensed Raj and giving millions of Indians an opportunity to own a two-wheeler, to standing up to power, Rahul Bajaj led from the front. Hamara Bajaj came to be associated as much with the scooter as with the man steering it. Over the 4 decades that he headed Bajaj Auto, he transformed it into a global manufacturing giant. Today, the business empire comprising Bajaj Auto, Bajaj Finance, Bajaj Finserv, and Bajaj Holdings and Investment boasts a combined market capitalization of over 8.4 trillion rupees. Corporate India owes much to the man who never shied away from calling a spade a spade. With his death in February this year, at the age of 83, India Inc. lost a doyen and the curtain fell on an era.
Speaking of doyens, the roaring success of India's IT sector brings one name to mind. A business leader who has made an indelible impact on modern India. We are talking of N.R. Narayana Murthy, who is known as the father of the Indian IT sector. He founded Infosys in 1981 which became the first IT company from India to be listed on the Nasdaq. It has grown to have a market capitalization of over $104 billion. Maruti has received the Legion d'Honneur from France, CBE from Britain, and Padma Bhushan from India. The Economist ranked him among the top 10 most admired global business leaders in 2005. Now, let's drive down south to another manufacturing powerhouse. In 1911, TV Sundaram Iyengar founded the now multinational conglomerate TVS Group. But the man who's carrying the torch forward is the automobile pioneer's grandson, TVS Motor Company Chairman Venu Srinivasan. Srinivasan is credited with transforming TVS from a 50cc moped maker in the 1980s to the third largest two-wheeler manufacturer in India, competing with the likes of Hero, Bajaj and Honda. While the company still has a monopoly in mopeds, its range of products extends from e-scooters and gearless scooters to race motorcycles and BMW bikes. Moving on, let's look at how two personalities turned a large family business into a global conglomerate, Aditya Birla Group. While Ghanshyam Das Birla or GD Birla set up industries in critical sectors such as textiles, aluminium, cement and chemicals, his son Aditya Vikram Birla took the family business beyond India's borders and set up the first overseas textile unit in Malaysia in 1969. In 1995, Aditya Birla died of cancer, but his son Kumar Mangalam Birla expanded the empire through mergers and acquisitions. Aditya Birla Group boasts of $60 billion in revenue and owns India's biggest cement company, Ultratech. The diversified conglomerate has presence in fashion retail and financial services, besides owning a telco in a joint venture with UK's Vodafone. Speaking of towering personalities, let's talk about a pioneer in the Indian pharma space. Son of a horse breeder, Cyrus Poonawalla chose to head in a different direction from the family business. Referred to as Vaccine King of India, Cyrus worked to develop a therapeutic serum from horse blood, and in 1966, at the age of 25, founded Serum Institute. By 1998, Serum was exporting vaccines to over 100 countries, and by the year 2000, 1 out of every 2 children in the world were vaccinated with an SII dose. Currently the largest vaccine maker by volume, Serum was at the heart of the global fight against the COVID pandemic, thanks to the India-made Covishield vaccine.
सब अच्छी दिख रही हैं यार, कौन सी खरीदूं?
ये तो वही बात हुई, 4000 शेयर्स लिस्टेड है, कौन सा लूं?
वो तो सबसे आसान है।
तुझे 5 पैसा नहीं पता?
अब तो सबको पता है। 5 पैसा पर है 4000 स्टॉक्स की रिसर्च, टेक्निकल टूल्स और इन्वेस्टमेंट आइडियाज। डाउनलोड 5 पैसा नाउ।
अब तो सबको पता है, investing made easy and rewarding with 5 paisa. Investments in securities market are subject to market risks. Read all the related documents carefully before investing.
These are some of the global Indians who got the world to sit up and take notice. With the vision and confidence to innovate and cut through challenges, these professionals took ideas and gave them wings. Their story is as much India's as it is the world's. Along the way, brands have embedded themselves into our everyday life, defined eras and left their indelible imprints that evoke nostalgia as iconic culture products do. From bicycles to cough syrup, from washing powder to music labels, from cosmetics to ink pot, from movies to stationery, some brands came to define the segments they represented. Some taglines made us laugh, some jingles made us sing along, some mascots endeared themselves to us for a lifetime. HMT became the timekeeper of the nation. Horlicks was a guard against night starvation. Asian Paint's mascot, Gattu, like the Amul girl, became a part of a brand folklore. From attacking social stereotypes to promoting national integration, some iconic brands have done more than just sell products in 75 years. Here's a look at 7 such brands with Kanishka.
Currently ranked as the 8th largest dairy organization in the world, Amul was founded in 1946 as part of a cooperative movement against Paulson Dairy and grew under the chairmanship of Verghese Kurian. What would become the Taste of India was at its heart a movement to ensure fair earnings for the country's farmers. The brand found its mascot in the round-eyed, utterly butterly Amul girl in a polka dot dress. That was back in the 60s. The Amul girl has since kept a close eye on the goings-ons in the country, recording them day after day with her puns, witty takes and compassion, depending on what emotion the event calls for. From the Pokhran nuclear test of 1998 to when India lifted the Cricket World Cup in 2011 to Wordle, through her, Amul has kept a finger on the country's pulse. Amul milk has given you chai, but what is tea without Parle-G? The perfect accompaniment to chai in the middle of a busy work day, Parle-G was founded in Swadeshi Idols in 1929 by Mohan Lal Chauhan. It was an answer to expensive British biscuits, perhaps with a touch of French. As the 80s approached, competitors started to launch their own glucose biscuits. Parle Gluco could see its market share thinning as people started getting confused by similar brand names. Many also just wanted glucose biscuits, brand no bar. So, in 1982, the brand reinvented itself as Parle-G. A powerhouse of energy, a huge section of society started depending on Parle-G, not just for fulfilling nutritional needs, but also for its budget-friendly prices. The prices remain so. Along with milk, Parle-G came to be considered staple baby food. The signature white and yellow striped biscuit packet with a chubby Parle baby girl is probably the most recognizable brand in the country and, according to Nielsen, continues to be world's best-selling biscuit. Another product that is inseparable from the India story is Maruti 800. The joint venture between Maruti Udyog and Japan's Suzuki Motors started with this small, box-like hatchback that was affordable and offered great mileage. It launched in 1983 at a price tag of just 47,500 rupees, tailor-made for tribulations on the average Indian road and the aspirations of the average Indian family. The small car proved a revolution in the Indian auto sector, eventually replacing the legendary Ambassador and much-loved Fiat Padmini as the car of the first choice. Even as the economy opened up in 1991, the 800 remained a favorite, and Maruti Suzuki continued its hold over the auto market with the largest share with its successive offerings. If Maruti Suzuki is the king of Indian roads, Air India is the Maharaja of the skies. The carrier is known for its royalty when it was born out of the J.R.D. Tata-led group in 1932. But the brand struck a chord with the average Indian reader too. Back in the days, it had an aura about it and was one of the few organizations that put India on the global map. The carrier hit the skies roaring and found success for many decades thereafter. But then, turbulence hit. Air India was nationalized and it has seen fair share of losses. Amid all of this, Air India shouldered some of the biggest Indian evacuations during the Gulf War and most recently in a pandemic. Now, back with the Tatas, the Maharaja hopes to revive its glory days. Moving on from Maharaja to the brand of brands, which gave us the Badshah of Bollywood, Shah Rukh Khan. How does one even begin to describe a brand like Bollywood? India's biggest entertainer, society's mirror, the most influential influencer, a world of storytellers and dream merchants, one of the country's most popular exports. Where does one start from? From Dada Saheb Phalke or Dada Saheb Torne? From Satyajit Ray or Bimal Roy? Or Rishikesh Mukherjee, Basu Bhattacharya or Shyam Benegal? Which stars does one focus on? The gorgeous Madhubala? The institutions called Prithvi Raj Kapoor and Dilip Kumar or Amitabh Bachchan? Which cinema does one write about? Commercial, parallel, art? Or which genre? Action, romance, horror, thriller? Bollywood isn't one brand. It is a brand of brands. Big, small, endearing, larger than life. And it has touched us all. There is also no denying that sports and Bollywood are intertwined. Indian Premier League or IPL has changed cricket forever, and the homegrown brand continues to grow in the cricketing world. The recent $6 billion record-breaking broadcast deal was a testament to that fact, and it might just affect a seismic shift on how the game is played and viewed. Mirroring the IPL model, all cricket-playing nations have a domestic league of their own, or they are planning one, with players increasingly prioritizing domestic leagues over international games. If indeed cricket goes the football way, one can safely say that it all started with IPL in 2008.
यार
मत पूछ यार,
फिर से स्टॉक्स में फंस गया।
तो स्टॉक्स के साथ बॉन्ड्स, इंश्योरेंस, गोल्ड में बैलेंस कर।
इसमें बहुत तामझाम है।
तुझे 5 पैसा नहीं पता?
अब तो सबको पता है। 5 पैसा है ऑल इन वन अकाउंट। डाउनलोड 5 पैसा नाउ।
अब तो सबको पता है। Investing made easy and rewarding with 5 paisa. Investments in securities market are subject to market risks. Read all the related documents carefully before investing.
Along with the proliferation of brands, the growth in the broadening of the Indian markets is another of country's achievements. The Indian stock market has grown just like India has, stronger and more confident. It has benefited from India's growth while also helping it grow. Ishan will take you on this journey that recalls the key moments that shaped Indian markets.
As our country celebrates its Platinum Independence Anniversary, here's a throwback on the many events that brought financial markets to where they are today. Even before India got independence in 1947, it had at least one stock exchange up and running in BSE in 1857. The other prominent exchange, the NSE, was incorporated in 1992 and was recognized as a stock exchange by the market regulator SEBI in 1993. BSE, meanwhile, remains one of the world's oldest stock exchanges and the 8th largest exchange in terms of market capitalization. One of the first few steps taken by the government post-independence was enactment of the Capital Issues Control Act that set the ball rolling for the Indian capital markets. And as investors equated investing in stock markets with wealth creation, the pool of investors kept growing over time. At the end of fiscal year 2021-22, the total Demat account holders in India stood at 89.7 million compared to 35.9 million at the end of FY19. Up almost 150% in 3 years. In all these years, veterans have innumerable stories of booms and busts spread across decades. Within a decade of independence, India saw its first market scandal involving Life Insurance Corporation of India and Haridas Mundra Group. The scam led to the resignation of the then finance minister. After the market stabilized, Reliance Industries launched its initial public offer in 1977, which market mavens say brought about the equity cult in India. In fact, Dhirubhai Ambani had booked an entire football stadium in 1985 to hold its annual general meeting, a gala event for its 12,000 shareholders back then. And then there was no looking back for the equity markets. After the Big Bang reformist budget in 1991, FPIs and FIIs were allowed to invest in Indian equities in 1992. Today, they hold stocks worth around a fifth of India's total market capitalization. The period thereafter saw more frequent troughs than peaks. The Harshad Mehta scam hit the markets in April 1992 when the Sensex tanked 13%. While Mehta died in 2001, the stories of his modus operandi live on through OTT series like Scam 1992. The crashes that followed include the dot-com collapse of 2000, the 2004 fall post-NDA's defeat in the national elections, and the 2008's market slump amid the global financial crisis. The global financial crisis led to a sharp crash with the Sensex plunging 63% in 2008 to under 7,700 levels. 2008 also saw India's financial capital under siege amid the 26/11 attacks rattling investors. The last market crash came in 2020 when the world was hit by the COVID-19 pandemic. The Sensex and Nifty closed at their lowest levels in 4 years after nosediving 33% in just 13 trading sessions. In the commodity market, WTI crude oil futures dropped 306% on April 20, 2020 to settle at minus $37.63 a barrel. The one-day plunge was the largest based on records going back to 1983. But between these crashes, there were periods of massive gains. India's Sensex touched 1000 mark for the first time in 1990 and marched to hit the 10,000 mark in 2006. The index then hit the milestone of 25,000 in 2014 and scaled Mount 50,000 in 2021. The lifetime high for the markets was during the same year. Going ahead, as India looks forward to its centenary celebrations 25 years down the line, equity investors in India are optimistic that the BSE Sensex 30 will have scaled the 100,000 mark by then. Back to you, Nazia.
अब क्या किया?
शेयर्स में ट्रेडिंग।
तुम्हें 5 पैसा नहीं पता?
ओए, अब तो सबको पता है। 5 पैसा पर मिलते हैं रिसर्च टूल्स, पोर्टफोलियो एनालिटिक्स और इन्वेस्टमेंट आइडियाज भी। डाउनलोड 5 पैसा नाउ।
अब तो सबको पता है, investing made easy and rewarding with 5 paisa. Investments in securities market are subject to market risks. Read all the related documents carefully before investing.
As India completes 75 years of independence, it has belied the predictions of men like Churchill. It has emerged as a confident, strong nation holding its own in the comity of nations. The last 75 years have given us leaders in the field of business, brands that connected with Indians, and markets that have grown from strength to strength. The future holds the promise of a stronger and more prosperous India. India at 75 is proud of its past but has its eyes on the future. And like the first Prime Minister said,
long years ago, we made a tryst with destiny, and now the time comes when we shall redeem our pledge, not wholly or in full measure, but very substantially.
I'm backed by the nation's trusted bank, SBI, the banker to every Indian.
With that, we leave you with the visuals of Independence Day celebration around the country. Wish you all a very happy Independence Day.
If you like this video, share it and subscribe to Business Standard. For more news, views and insights, log on to www.business-standard.com. Do also follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Telegram and LinkedIn.